Hello, everyone. Welcome back for some more Great Ace Attorney to resolve. We're in court for the fourth trial, and I gotta say, I really don't feel like we have a lot of evidence. I mean, we got some, but not much. Half of this seems to not even relate to our case. I'm not gonna say we're screwed, but we kind of feel screwed. Anyways, there's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Actually, no, it's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There's a menacing tension in the air here today, isn't there? I suppose. Yes, I think so. It can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken. This trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details. However, I understand that no jury has been selected. I feel that shouldn't be allowed. A trial without a jury? Well, that's just oh, right, I guess that's what they do in Japan. The trial of the professor 10 years ago. A closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes. Have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruhodo? An outright victory for science, you must agree. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I mean, I completely forgot about your little breath of fire hair problem. What to one man is a little hair problem is another day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how powerful those potions were. The potion seller with his silly head said that I'm not powerful enough for his potions. And you also have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear, how awful for you. Little Sherlock's gonna get the little Sherlock shitholes. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And I see London's celebrated great detective is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow. Compared to my paltry engagements with a few trivial cases, the Reaper's overbearing presence is a far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. And whilst I may not agree with your methods, there's at least one point on which I would readily commend you. What an honor. And that would be your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Mr. Sholmes! After all, behind this lawyer there is a very great mind. My own. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Sorry to barge in. Oh. Didn't know who was coming in. Gina! What's that on her arm? Oh, a mourning band, I suppose. Father, shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed. Well, I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, Gina? Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was in what? Oh, okay. Sometimes it takes a second for me to get into the Cockney mindset. Everyone says it was him what? what killed the boss. I'm sorry, Gina, but I just don't believe that. What if it weren't him? Who was it? I don't know that. Well, yet. I don't care who calls him what. A Reaper's just a name. He's a person just at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him what killed the boss, then God help him. I have no idea what you're saying. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. At least, that may be some solace to the deceased. Please, Odo. Get whoever did this. We're the boss. Oh, Gina. I hate feeling this useless, but there's nothing I can do. So you've got to find who did this and make that wretch pay.
Comes over to the friends of the defendant and quote will be in session shortly. We go into the corner at once, please.
Wow, those guys were fast today. All right, here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Vanzeeks. So I still don't believe Gregson's dead. We've already had one body that wasn't a body, and we haven't seen the body. We've seen nothing to indicate he's actually dead. We've been told he's been killed, but I don't think it's him. So we'll have to see. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. And then again, he's pairing them all up. All that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in this trial. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. And whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look it straight in the eye. What's it implying here? Why is it are we going to implicate Sholmes? We'll have to see. Damn. Straight up, no jury.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We're here to conduct a fair and just trial of the defendant, Vera Vanzeeks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin?
Defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, Kazuma-sama. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long, it feels. And I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecutor's bench.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey has been a scourge like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today, we must uncover the truth behind this scourge.
In other words, this trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder.
The truths revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions through the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial with no members of the public present.
Who's that in the back then?
By Her Majesty's direct orders.
Did you see that in the back behind it? Yeah. Who are those shadows back there?
They're just cardboard cutouts to give you the illusion.
All right, thank you, my lord. Anyways, how will that work, my lord?
The burden of all arbitration and the burden of all arbitration and adjudication falls on my shoulders. Therefore, as you will see, the juror's bench shall remain vacant today.
If no members of the public are present, might I ask... Oh, yeah, here we go. Who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord?
They are members of the judiciary. We will witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial.
Members of the judiciary? Oh, my. This is a very unusual trial already.
There is, of course, one other unprecedented aspect to these proceedings on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and the defense are both aliens. Winton of Great Britain.
I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. Buddy, that jacket is so tight on you, you're busting out. Do you see that? Holy moly. I haven't seen busting out like that since, Mia Fey. And as I stand here in this courtroom now, I'm quite certain this is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma? I gotta differentiate their voices. I really gotta work on that now that they're back together and kind of doing similar stuff.
Very well, let us commence proceedings. Prosecutor Isogi, your opening statement, please.
You're gonna have a whole new set of animations. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on the 1st November, at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Fresno Street on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property.
Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson, a name known very well indeed to this court. Not least, it was a miraculous resolution of one of this country's grimmest cases 10 years ago.
The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly.
How has the range been determined?
There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But, okay, so in the other room, I have the Nintendo Alarmo, and I really like it, but, I just realized it's probably really bad for videos, because then you'll hear, Mario coins or, several Pikmin being plucked in the background all the time. I should probably turn that down. Yeah, anyways. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range.
I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel.
Autopsy report updated. Point-blank range. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim.
And have you managed to ascertain the owner of this firearm?
No, my lord. Not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama, for not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There's a candelabra mounted on that wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The setting of this crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please.
As you wish, my lord. Gotta not do the same voice as I normally do with the prosecutor.
Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode?
No, my lord. The room is rented to a Mr. Hugh Boone. There's precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside, holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot.
So, the details of the case are clear.
In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness.
The name, please, Counsel.
Naturally, the accused himself. Lord Van Zeeks! As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken. I'll be compelled to tell the truth.
Very well. Let the defendant take the witness stand.
I mean, yeah, why not? Surprised we don't do this more often. So, witness, State your name and occupation for the court. Baroque Van Zeeks, Old Bailey prosecutor.
I presume, Lord Van Zeeks, that you heard Prosecutor Sogi's opening precis?
I did.
It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this?
So far, this trial is going exceedingly normally. Like, for Ace Attorney, it's almost proving how court should be in a world where court is never the way it should be. Yes, my lord. And I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why you were there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question, and what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth.
I must say, Lord Van Zeeks, I never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come, but since we became known as the Reaper, part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony, then, the witness.
All right. What do we got? The facts of the incident. I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. Oh, that's already interesting. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside, and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open, and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. Like, I'm gonna be honest, that just sounds like, yeah. Everything about that sounds believable so far, but we obviously gotta dig into it. That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants, and moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right. You haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words, Prosecutor Asogi.
It would appear to be a singular tale indeed.
Singular isn't the word. It's laughable. What's got into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all.
Very well, then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Okay, let's see. Facts of the incident. All right. Why were you investigating Gregson? That's already very strange. You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. That's already a problem. I don't think you can. I don't think in court you can just be like, hey, what were you doing? And you like, I can't tell you. Buddy, I feel like you gotta say that in court. Sorry? I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed.
Is court understand, then, that on the day in question, you followed the victim to the scene?
No, I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. Okay. I know you said you'd tell the truth, but this isn't helping your case. The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office? In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense.
As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zeeks?
I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom. to choose what to divulge under oath. Why did I ever think I could defend this man? When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside, and I saw no one. Now my question is, if it was dark inside, why the candle? Something about the candle, I think. Okay.
Hold it!
Give me more. Had you been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of this place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make anything out. But at 5 p.m., the sun would have only just gone down. It would still have been reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, it's on there. There's a small desk on the room just here. Yeah, I remember, and there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and started towards the desk to investigate. What did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk. A moment later, I heard the gunshot, spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Isn't it wild? Both of these characters were arrested because they picked up a gun. Hey, more proof. Never pick up a gun. Make sure no one's around to pick it up, and make sure no one's around to see you pick up the gun, right? Like, just be like, I would immediately just be like, oh, I mean, mind you, he was already committing a crime, so, that's the problem, right? Anyways, so who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there? Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is, I didn't sense another person's presence. Then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room? No, that's out of the question. Oh. Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. This is going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct, and I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part. It was!
Presumably then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took in your hands.
In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired? Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer. Oh, hey, where was the gun that was fired? No, wrong, no. I think it's this. I think this is a secret spy gun. I'm still calling it. Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that. Just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open, and I heard a man scream.
Hold it!
Who scream? A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume? That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street.
Who are these merchants?
A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given various statements that they've heard the gunshot, and without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Tina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and I almost gave me a heart attack in the process. But you're supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come and immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me.
Hold it!
Okay. What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just before? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson.
Most curious circumstances indeed.
How the inspector was killed or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere, I have no idea.
Objection!
Oh? Surely the court has heard enough. Uh-oh. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Baroque Van Zeeks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean?
Good gracious, counsel.
The defendant is lying, you say? Oh, that was him. In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. Are we on the receiving end of what it's like to be... Are we literally seeing what it's like to be on the other end of, like, Phoenix Wright, basically? Oh no. No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabrum. Oh my god, that's what I was gonna do. How does that prove anything? It... Typo! We got a typo! It you examine! It you examine, let's go! It you examine the tip of the long candle. Oh my god. This version of his theme. You can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact.
One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle.
The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length.
Yes, I can see that only one candle that has been struck by the bullet is... only the candle that has been struck by the bullet is long.
We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ugh. That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other candles would still have been burning. So the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused's claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now, to the next lie. There's more! The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right, we saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they include a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. There's a common thread linking all of the documents on that board.
Well, indeed. What is the common thread, Counsel?
They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Baroque van Zeeks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted.
Good Lord!
Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Oh no. In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout and his base of operations. The Reaper's hideout? And yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards.
Backwards? Explain, Counsel.
Oh my god, he's going to say Gregson was investigating the Reaper. Yep. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. What?
Order! Very well. I hereby state the current opinion of the court, which is me, by the way. Baroque van Zeeks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Asogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts.
All I have done is state the truth as I know it. Cosmo's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable. It is. He's literally, again, doing what we do in Ace Attorney.
Counsel, you will submit the board that you just showed to the court as evidence. I believe to be fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence.
Thank you, my lord. Notice board has been added. I want to look at the back of it to see if there's a little flap to point a gun. Right? Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruto, look. Oh, yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And the color, that's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, oh dear, how disturbing. I thought that was him. Bloody handprint on the back. Yeah, that's important. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years here, aren't there? This paper from 10 years ago is browning with age. Look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Sholmes had picked out. Do you remember, there was a red hairpiece at the scene too? Is Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then? Oh my god, are we really bringing that in with it? Okay. Autopsy report. Time of death. Actually, time of death is listed as we don't know. Coroner Maria Gori. That's kind of funny. Caliber gun matches standard issue. Victim was shot in the chest, point blank, exited from behind. Okay, well, let's continue. And now the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who saw events unfold in the day in question. Were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yeah, the street sellers who heard gunshots and ran running into the room. They're gonna be the guys from we saw with Sholmes, I'm sure.
Very well. Lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down of the witness stand.
Certainly, my lord. Again, best acting, one of all time. Okay. Okay, maybe. Oh my god, you're back. So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Oh! Oh, I don't like that! Oh, gross, buddy. The flip-flap on that? Ew! Ew, I want to pop it!
Names? We don't use names, far too fancy for the likes of us.
We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live. Are you just gonna be BB Hood from Darkstalkers, or you bring on Newsy?
I give them all a vacant stare as they walk down Fresno and spin a few words into a verse for them.
Would I be right in assuming that all three of you make your living by selling wares on the street?
Everyone calls me Gossip.
I don't know what voice I'm giving you just yet.
I sell jaunty little bits to passers-by, you know.
Jaunty little Okay. Did he say that? No, he said. Oh, he did say titbits.
Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your gin it is. 6 pence is the price, not a penny less.
Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now?
Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested.
Try the man. Give him the money and see what it is.
Pay the man, counsel.
All right. 6 pence it is.
Oh, you won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on Slate Street have just had twins.
Oh my god, really? Is that it?
No, it's not it. It's gossip, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? It wants to spread, but that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course.
How old are you? Oh, you're not even listed. Oh, you're super. You don't matter at all, buddy.
I got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 pence a piece it is, if you're curious.
I am curious, yes, about what's going on under that fat bottom lip of yours. Name of that unusual bruise or whatever that's poking out from under. Oh, right, yeah. Maybe he's just a freak? What about the next witness, then? What name do you go by, and what do you sell?
Me, I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, isn't it?
Oh, with a name like Venus, I know what she sells. On the street. You know what I'm saying? Razors! Oh my god, what do you think I'm saying? Oh, firecrackers.
I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids.
Oh, you're the bastard who's in charge of giving them all to the people outside my apartment and constantly getting my videos. Oh, my goodness. That did a lot for me.
6 pence a pop, what do you say?
That is a really... That's a really fun take on the little match girl. Like the little matchstick girl. That's a really fun take on it. I like it. We weren't exaggerating with the little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah, those just barely popped.
Oh yeah, the second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, they could blow up the school.
Not the most savory of ideas, young lady.
What do you say then, eh?
What? Is she like kissing them? It's a lot. It's a lot.
Wanna part with 6 pence for a pop?
Wait, what? You want me to buy one?
Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Oh yeah, she does. Oh my goodness. That's... This feels aggressive for Ace Attorney, you know?
Get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom.
Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right.
Pay the woman, counsel.
All right, I'll buy one.
Lovely stuff. Right then, this is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus special. Only 600 pence.
600?
It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there?
And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. Oh, what are we doing? And the last witness, what name do you go by and what do you sell? Well, first off, really? Have you an idea, Mr. Naruhodo? You're staring at the end of the string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just that's the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Shall we find out? What? But she said you could blow up the courtroom! Alright, that was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruhodo. It sounded almost exactly like... Oh my god. Like a gunshot. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. What name do you go by? What do you sell?
I'm a thinker, me. I think of all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go by on about me. They call me the Observator.
Don't get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich, and you know it.
So, you don't actually sell anything?
A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. I give advice, I do, and I think what it means.
Hot. Actual hero. What does that mean?
I don't actually sell anything, no, come to think of it.
Pity. No more purchases today, please.
Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems.
They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night, my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene.
I see. And thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose?
Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witness the crime.
Oh, I'll be beggared, I just thought. I'll be beggared, I thought.
Okay.
Just between us.
Venus de Milo, what do I do? What a terrible thing I saw. What I think is, if all what we see is light and shadow playing with our eyes, is any of it real?
Guys, I don't think this guy's fit to stand. What is he talking about?
Very well. The court will hear formal testimony of these three witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident.
I don't think he should be here. I feel like the kid had a better time. Witness's account.
We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building.
Also, again, are they added? They are, okay. Oh. Questions. You know what this character's from? This is a Tulip character. This is a character from Tulip. It's not an Ace Attorney character. This is a Tulip character. Venus. Gossip Venus Sandwich. It's not their names. We know you're Old Beppo. So I don't trust any of them.
It was less than a minute after the Reaper had got inside that we all heard a big bang.
I'm not giving her an accent. I don't know. It's fine.
Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go inside and see what happened.
Well, I ran into the courtroom and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the body.
I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper.
Okay. If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Baroque Van Zeeks.
I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made myself a tidy sum already.
But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied.
Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot.
The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone.
I'm just worried the court has returned would appear to leave little room for doubt. Almost as little room as the little room he was in. Becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
No. Thank you for your candor, my lord.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses.
Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. Well, we know one avenue we're pursuing. Little Miss Match Girl with the gunpowder, right? Everything from the moment they went in the building. Okay. When you say they, what do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zeeks?
I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was the old Reaper that went in last, that's for sure.
Just behind Inspector Gregson? Did they arrive at the same time as each other?
No, not at all. First fella must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before that gunshot.
Makes him arrive 15 minutes before. Are you sure about that?
Am I sure? Oh, does it seem like that I forget a fella with bright red hair like that, does it?
Yeah, his hair really were red, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks, even. That fiery red mops is still burnt on the inside of my eyelids, it is.
Wait a minute. You're saying the man was a redhead?
Weren't you listening, chum? Aye, he was a redhead. And he had a big trunk with him as well.
I don't care about the size of his ass. But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red, not by any stretch of the imagination. Seems likely the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. We're just gonna forget about the wig, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Kazuma. You're actually being the sensical one here. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct.
What?
Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. This is important. Okay, that is him. Yeah, that's Inspector Gregson, all right. And a red hairpiece. Of course, we saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe that Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that?
The color does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence, please, counsel.
Okay. Curled up with a red hairpiece, okay. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared?
What, you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you?
We definitely saw him in the dock. Saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that.
I'm giving it like a country accent. That's fine.
It was less than a minute after the Reaper got inside that we all heard a big bang.
Hold it!
Wonder what that was, but okay. By which presumably you mean the gunshot?
I sell these little things, don't I? How'd I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit like this, doesn't it?
And you say you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant here into the building?
That's right, it was almost straight away. Bang, it went, just like that.
Well, he's the Reaper, isn't he? It's what the French call a fait accompli. When the Reaper's around, people are going in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it?
I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clearer motive for the crime.
Yes, it's certainly an eminently credible motive.
Great. And at that point, you ran inside, is that correct?
Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to work.
We got it. So, when Gossip ran to see what happened, did you go too?
Well, I'm a bit hampered to see. All the signs are that I can't move very well.
You were way behind. You were away behind, presumably. With that sandwich board around your neck and that big sign in your hand. Is it called a sandwich board? I didn't understand why his name was Sandwich. That makes more sense now. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible you and I have met before?
I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what make me who I am now. I sign, therefore I am.
So, you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago then?
Oh.
I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Narhodo. Yeah, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot.
Turn down King Henry Street and the Black Widower's Arms is just there.
Oh dear, you made him hide behind his sign. Life is full of surprises. Is it just he's here because of acid reuse?
Ran in the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body.
Okay. So then, you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right?
I was. Kicked the door open like a professional I did and yelled out, "What's going on here?"
Lord Van Zeeks claims all he heard was a man's scream, though. And was it dark inside the room?
No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall.
Really?
And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it's the first thing I noticed when I got inside.
I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall.
Next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body.
The accused, Baroque Van Zeeks.
That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no lily-livered coward. I stood my ground and gave the Reaper a cold, hard stare myself.
You got something to say, old Beppo? Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich?
Oh. There's really nothing to me. Empty in the head I am. Just 2 slices with no middle. So, I don't know what you could have wanted with me.
Think maybe you just remembered something? Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean.
Oh, what I think is, we're all nothings, really. We try to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers.
That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich.
Oh, when he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over his backside.
That's it?
Oh, you rotten beggar, I told you to keep our secret.
He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all fours. That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Gossip, is that true?
Floor's dead slippery, that's why.
I planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck.
What? A pool of blood? Ah, but listen here. Even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving the Reaper that cold, hard stare. Don't you forget it.
Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand?
Oh, I did, I. Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? I was scared. I slipped over. We could just keep it between us, can't we?
No, Mr. Gossip. I'm gonna have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony.
Oh, if I must.
Witness will amend this testimony to include the aforementioned slipping at once.
Yeah, this seems important then.
I slipped over and got blood in my hand, so I quickly wiped it off on the floor.
We know exactly what to do with this one. Yeah. Okay. So let's extend this a bit more. You wiped your hand on the floor.
Well, wants blood on his hand, eh? Horrible stuff, and I thought I'd done it. No tar.
And you didn't think that might be a problem?
Does it really matter if I left a few grubby handprints on the floor? They'll get cleaned up in the end, won't they? Don't make such a fuss. That's the message from all of us.
Is something wrong, Counsel?
No, my lord. I didn't remember anything in a report about a bloody handprint on the floor. That's all.
Don't come out with all that. You can't intimidate me. Oh, I know what I did. I wiped it off on the floor, the blood. I wonder, could that be what happened? Mr. Naruhodo, I don't have all the answers yet, but I think we might just have uncovered a vital clue. I mean, I know exactly what to do for this one, but we'll hold off on that.
I was scared half to death, me, so I ran to find a copper.
So you didn't run into the room with your friends?
I'm not that sort of girl. I thought you were going to say, you think I like these fellas?
Sorry?
I'm a timid little thing, me. I was too scared to go in there.
Right. I see.
Old Lippy and the witch ran right in there, and then I heard a sort of old lady scream.
Well, it wasn't me, I swear. If I were a gentleman, I'd stake my honor on it.
I wondered what on earth was going on.
Which is when you went to find a policeman?
And I ran into a copper as soon as I turned the corner. So I brought him straight back to the place. Didn't I do well, eh?
Just between us, that copper's eyes nearly popped out of his head when he saw the Reaper.
I have never felt more comfortable in the whole of my life.
But the defendant was arrested on the spot, I believe.
Considering the catalog of killings the Reaper had carried out, it was particularly an auspicious end. I can't find any holes in this testimony. I'm afraid the judge will give a ruling of guilty, Mr. Naruhodo. Truth is, though, their combined testimony is fairly damning. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be any obvious problems with their statements. Yes, there is. We found it. We know what to do. We know what to do. You don't gotta tell me. I think I know exactly what to do. Okay. I don't think it's gonna be one of these three, but I think they're in on it. I think these are fake people, fake actors being given a role here. I think so. Alright, so. Hey, let's not lose all our points again. So let's pop this. Alright, so let's go present. And we got the signboard. So you wipe the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that?
Well, what else do you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense asserting? If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board. Oh, well, he twisted it right around.
Oh, yes, indeed. Indisputably a handprint in the distinctive color of blood.
Oh, you're dead right. That's my right hand. I'd know it anywhere.
Objection!
The witness very clearly testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints on the back of the board are irrelevant. Why don't we just ask him to match it up? Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, in an upright position. Yeah, well, if he stepped in blood, how did it get over there? Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body.
I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room.
In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. There's a very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason.
I take it that you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel, regarding this apparent discrepancy between the Witness's account of the handprint found at the scene.
I have, my lord. I have. Discrepancy between the witness's account of the location of the handprint is explained by... the board could move, right? It's on wheels, right? Oh, it's super not. That's pretty big. I think it's the board moving. I think the board was somewhere else. It would explain why. It would explain why they couldn't see him. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down. Oh yeah, I guess.
Goodness gracious, so it is. If the witness has put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upwards.
What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested, which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What?
Objection.
God, she is popping that booty. You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet. But the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point.
But that would be...
The position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord.
So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the notice board was situated?
Well, if he got shot and fell here, right? Which would, again, be a way to block the view of him. Right here. This is the close enough. The only possible location.
Immediately adjacent to the doorway?
If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark and he couldn't see the body. Oh, the light. Yeah, okay. Boink! If the notice board had been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view. And the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection.
But the accused also claimed that the victim's body simply appeared before him. That's true. Or, in his precise words, just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me, and no mistake. 'Cause it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan... Oh! Frick! You kick the door open and it flies up... Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. Consider what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force. That can't... The door struck the notice board, knocking it over, and making the victim's body visible.
Good gracious!
My client has told nothing but the truth. He simply described what he saw. Ah. I guess he's booty popping too.
Order, order! Counsel, how has this not come to light before now?
After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it in the when investigating the room.
Witness, what do you have to say for yourself?
What? Me, my lord?
You and your fellows were there at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board.
The witnesses at the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you saw, or exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime.
Stop looking over your glasses at me. I get the message.
I don't like this guy. I really don't like this guy. A lot about this guy I don't like.
I don't know anything about the notice board. I just wipe my hand on it, that's all.
Now, like her.
Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me, just a sign at the crossroads of a life.
Hey, was that Reaper? I bet he's got a face that screams bored.
I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot.
Okay.
So none of you can elaborate further.
Shaken by the crime they witnessed, with only the light of a few candles and an oil lamp by which to see. We can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened.
That's right, yeah. Don't pay much to expect too much. It's a man's endless quest for the knowledge that's destroying the world. That's what I think.
Do you? Really? In any case, as his testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only person at the scene. In short, the only person who possibly could have committed this crime is Baroque Van Zeeks. None of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact.
Quite so, quite so. Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstances?
Most certainly, my lord.
Very well, then you may proceed, counsel.
Let's get more pressing first. Okay, let's see. History of the moving board.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, let's see. So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on?
Well, no need to cuss in court, sir. Admit it. What's there to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see. A smashing print on my right hand.
Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint. So you righted the notice board and pushed it into the corner, did you?
No, imagine the weight of that great lump. I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man.
Oh, his accent's going everywhere. Well, did you see anyone else moving the board?
I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was all a quiver.
In other words, this witness is unable to give a definite testimony on the point.
Yes, so it would seem.
Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with them some second years at the time. What?
Okay. When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks?
Yeah, what else?
I'd hope so. Oh, with the job we talked about earlier, jeez.
There's the Priory School just round the corner, see? Those cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow up their school, the Kingdom Come. So I've been telling on them, letting their teachers know what they're up to.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off of them. And then, praise the Lord again, kids all come back to buy more. Everyone's happy, see?
What a racket. I was going to say that. I was going to say what a hustle, but that's the correct thing to say at the time.
Of course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank me for letting them know. It's a very busy life selling explosives.
Venus is a guileful goddess indeed.
Well, telling them barefaced...
Can't do that. Can't do that in court. Can't do that in court. You really can't do that in court. Oh my god.
Well, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it.
Beppo, you got something to say, buddy? Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich?
If I said it was, could we just leave it at that? Would that be the end of it?
No? Did Miss Venus' statement now just bring something to mind, perhaps?
Philosophical thoughts. Deeper philosophical thoughts.
Huh?
to say there was a great liar. And that great liar said without batting an eye, telling barefaced lies is a kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a lie too, or the truth? In which case she's not a liar. Oh, it's a hellish paradox, that one. Don't you think?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But it seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying, are you? The little low ding is really funny and also really scary.
What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep on like that. And I'll wrap your whole body up in firecrackers and set 'em off. That'll give you something to tremble about.
You have a startlingly disturbing mind by that sweet, innocent face, young lady. Also, I don't think you should be doing that in court.
So Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich?
Well, if it means I'll be burning in a hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Can you elaborate, please, sir?
Old blabbermouth here, headed for the room where the gunshot seemed to come from. But there was someone else who crept up on the stairs behind him too. That's right. The rotten liar there over there.
So that's perjury immediately.
Do you mean to say that you did in fact take yourself to the scene of the crime after all?
That's an immediate super perjury. Like the most blatant immediate super perjury.
What did I tell you, eh? I said I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I?
Yes, you mentioned it.
Well, Mario's in the other room. Please ignore him. Please ignore him.
I don't even know if you can hear that. You probably can hear that. I'm going to stop that from now on.
Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it?
Who knew firecrackers pack such a punch?
So you did indeed visit the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Oh, good grief.
Well, now you've come to mention it, I suppose perhaps I do clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah?
Either you clearly remember it or you don't.
Well, I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later.
Oh, thank you. Good.
For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth.
Oh, yes, my lord, of course.
What was this?
Maybe I did sneak along beside gossip and have a little peek in the room where it all happened. Well, what did you see?
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus?
Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I take everything I say with a big pinch of salt.
All right, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you?
Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying.
The truth, please.
Well, right, just a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know.
Did you touch anything at the scene?
Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor.
The truth, please.
Well, right, just a bit then. I had to look to see if there was anything I could sell. So I did give the place a once-over, but it was nothing to write home about.
Right. Now, I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you?
Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had.
The truth, please.
Well, all right then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flippin' thing. Sorry, flip the blasted thing.
You're telling us that you did move the board?
I think that did slip out, didn't it?
You daft barn pot. Wow, that's a new one.
I don't believe it. The girl doesn't think.
So, did you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps, to sell?
Oh, please. I should be so lucky. I might,
The truth now!
I might have found this old pocket watch under this notice board, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much if you ask. Ah!
Oh. So it was you, wasn't it? You're the one what took it. Gina! Didn't know you were here.
Young lady, may I remind you where you are?
That watch there. That was President Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago.
The professor case, no doubt. Boss used to wind it every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. I see. I swapped it off him once and blimey, he was upset. He gave me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Possibly not the best thing to go diving for then.
It's not all that, though. I took it to Jabez's that night and asked how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it, said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. Ugh, I knew I should have lifted it.
That watch must be submitted as evidence at once.
Oh, please, just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done.
Not a chance. I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your grubby mitts on it again.
That's enough. Hand the watch over to the bailiff forthwith.
Now, children, watch your manners.
Oh, good lord. The glass appears to be broken.
More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. I'm calling it now. It saved his life.
He doesn't take any more either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh?
Yes, indeed. They would appear to have stopped at the hour of 5.
Exactly when the gunshot was heard then. Calling it now. That saved his life. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. It's no longer taking the glasses cracked. Okay.
Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at least.
Wait. There's a tiny... Okay, it's not a gun. There's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see? Oh, yes. That's probably for the winder used to wind the mechanism. Looks a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you'd need just the right key to wind it, I'd imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something a bit like a key that's about the right size to fit in this hole. It'd be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check over carefully what we've already found. Okay. That's gonna be it. And it's gonna flip open to reveal a picture. Glass over the face, really badly cracked. Look. What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. Imagine Sholmes could repair it, don't you? Yes, I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact. But kindly remember he's a great detective, Mr. Narhoda, not an odd-job man. No, if he was an odd-job man, he'd be short and throw his hat. Okay. So this is what you wind it with, I guess. Twisterino. And... Mr. Sato, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Gregson's watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose. I knew it! A perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. So it has obviously just not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Mrs. Sato? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling it could have profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I'd better start thinking deeply too. Okay, maybe not. Started thinking again. Huh. Be wild if as you play it, like...
if as you play it keeps going and like it keeps a time. There's this tiny little stub sticking out from this small hole here. Look. I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time. In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such great care of this watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it? Yes, of course. Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene, maybe. We'll have to look for that. Unless, of course, again, it's secretly in our inventory or something. Don't see anything there. Okay. I was looking to see if he had one on him or something. No. Actually, you don't think it's this, do you? So this is the type of revolver that's standard issue for members of the judiciary, then? Yes, and when asked about whether records are kept about who they're issued to, I was told that for the past 5 years, they've been engraved with a unique serial number. Oh, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing like that on this gun, which tells us that it must have been issued longer ago than that. Well, that's not great. Not great indeed. I don't think there's anything else for to get on this. Okay, that was still good to know. Okay, well. And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case, the signboard. Ugh.
Now then, continue with your cross-examination, please, counsel.
I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me, just a sign at the crossroads of a life.
Why are you here? But you did go to see what happened in the room, didn't you?
Fresno Street is my whole world. It's all I know, and all I know of. I have to make it my business to know. I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold up my sign high.
So did you go to see what happened?
It's not the destination that's important. It's how you got there, isn't it?
Did you notice the notice board in the room?
If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I'd spotted it, I might have actually tried to trip it up as a sense of a rivalry, I admit.
Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens and not heterosapiens. Hey, anyways, Homo sinians. Does that mean you didn't notice the board?
I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of a life.
In which case, just who was responsible for moving the notice board?
Well, we got that. We don't need to worry about that.
It was a Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, come on now. Don't tell us you've not noticed. He looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not a notice board. It's one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes.
I can't say I'd ever noticed.
I'll tell you one thing for free, though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor. Or off the Reaper, not for a second.
Sorry?
Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know when a fiend might like that. Might do if you look away, do you?
If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board.
Oh, yeah, that I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I could swear to it. Could have missed it if he'd heaved the thing upright and dragged it into the corner.
Yeah, we solved this. We've cleared this, yes. What happened to the face that screams bored?
I feel your pain, Kazuma.
I can't see how this changed anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gun shot.
Hold it!
This is the curious one to me. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard the loud bang, wasn't it?
Maybe the notice board fell over, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over, or maybe I didn't. But the Reaper's fate is sealed either way because that gunshot was because of the gunshot that we heard. So your fate is sealed too.
My fate? That's right, the defense is fated to lose, and the prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. So if I could just find some problem with that part of their story, it may be possible to change all our fates.
Of course, none of that changes the fact that I heard what I heard, does it?
I think we gotta say that we don't have the time of death. We are just going on the fact that it's 5 o'clock. Not much to go on.
As you pointed out, Mr. Naruhodo, there's no question that the notice board was moved. Somebody must have done it.
Yeah, we solved that. Maybe Cosmo's right and it's not relevant to the case. No, it is. It pretty much is. What seems to have been deliberately positioned so as to hide the body from view. So I feel sure that there's some deeper significance to all of this. Yes, I know what you mean. No doubt there are more clues to be uncovered. You're on the right track, I can feel. Okay, so I have ideas here with it's a firecracker, and it wasn't at 5 o'clock. We only think it's 5 o'clock because of the watch, but it's not actually 5 o'clock, so just see here. Right, so I think it's this. Let's see here. Let's start by going, because he specifically says, the detective died when we heard the gunshot. The autopsy report contradicts that.
Objection.
Or not. Great. Alright. Guess it doesn't. Good to know. So, in that case. Died when we heard the gunshot. Are we going to say it's...
Objection.
No? Okay, not this yet. Okay, well, we'll come back to this later. Right? We'll come back. We'll come back. Okay? Failed. Is it just this one?
Objection.
Okay. This feels like a leap in logic to me, but okay. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh. At this scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. Not the professor, that's a different fella. A key? And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What?
Order. Counsel, the watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock.
Yeah, which is just when we heard the gunshot.
It is exactly the hour.
The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing other than when it wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection.
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when this crime was committed.
Objection.
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago.
My boss used to wind it every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub at the pub. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did.
The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well.
Yes, that would be entirely reasonable.
But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day.
Oh, aye.
Well, how do you explain it then?
In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean. What would stop a man winding his watch? He's been in the habit of winding it every single day for 10 years. The obvious answer is that he was already dead.
Order, Counsel. That is a most extraordinary claim.
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? Do you really think Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right!
Wait a minute, you're forgetting that my legs went from under me when I kicked the door in.
What do you mean?
Like I said, I'm planting my hand in a dirty, great puddle of blood.
Yes. So the victim's blood hadn't dried. It was fresh.
He catches on fast, doesn't he?
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the victim's body after he... Does my learned friend... You stole that from Van Zeeks. Does my learned friend think that fresh blood is available on every street corner? Yeah, it's called a butcher. Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. See? We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human.
The problem is currently being researched at present. You are correct, it is beyond our ability.
So then, chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
The gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh, please, what are you trying to say?
Us lot know what we heard, and it was a loud bang that came from that there room.
Now you listen to me. A street seller's ears are his livelihood.
I don't doubt your ears, sir. But all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise.
Eh?
Explain yourself then, counsel.
A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with... a gun. No.
Take that!
The Venus firecracker. Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot.
Oh, good gracious! The very fireworks that are sold by the witness?
Now, hold on a minute. Are you saying I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway, see?
Not 100 of them together. The Venus special you sell for 600 penis sounds like this. As the court can now attest. Sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. I shouldn't have made that noise. Shouldn't. You're trying to suggest that somebody set off one of these fireworks at the scene? I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for these peddlers on Fresno Street to hear.
Objection!
But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gunshot or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Baroque Van Zeeks.
One whiff of a match and my firecrackers go pop. See? It's why people like them.
I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a time bomb. Okay.
Good heavens, a bomb?
Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like it. Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident. Oh, no, wait, no, it's the whatever you like part that's important. A time device? Yes, exactly. A time device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left.
Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a time device was created to employ...
Could it be? Could we say that it was attached up here? And as it melted down, perhaps? It's the only thing I can think of off the top, or... Is it this? No, I don't think so. Timed gun. I think it's the candle, right? Because the top's been blown off, not by a gunshot, but by.
Take that!
Okay, yeah. As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in the candelabrum has been blown off.
Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet, which presumably passed through the victim.
I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible? Why? Because of the scorching. Oh, right, because gunpowder scorches would only be if it's point blank. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle.
There are? Oh, goodness, yes. But is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound?
That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at a very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun.
Oh, that's very few inches for our American readers.
Which means the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks?
How can that be, eh?
The fact there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or put another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. Yeah, so when it melts down, it pops. The culprit somehow attached the fireworks to a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two. That pops until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud bang. And that is how these three witnesses came to believe they've heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock.
Well, what a plot. And this implies the victim could have died earlier than we would let believe. Previous day, even.
Now, just hold your horses. All as lot of you saw the victim going into the building, remember?
I couldn't forget that the flame-colored hair, even if I wanted to.
The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this.
Oh!
Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely, wearing the red hairpiece.
Someone else? Do you mean to say?
It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of time of death in this report. A stark omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired.
Order. Prosecutor Asogi, what on earth do you mean by that statement?
I heard that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today, so we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture. But while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it.
Well, certainly. I would agree with you.
What immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard.
Be within the yard?
However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yeah, I agree, surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident?
There's two it could be. I think it is the picture of the lady and the missing fella. No, the Redhead League. No, never mind. It's the Redhead League, yeah.
Take that!
That makes more sense. I believe this red hair piece points to the answer. It's not what I picked, but thank you for letting me do the other one. You might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation.
Surely not. Such money-colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable.
Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League.
The Red-Headed League?
So, you'd already worked it out.
What on earth is this all about? Is such an extraordinary league of gentlemen?
That's a really cute reference. Wow. That's really cute. Who knows? Maybe we'll find Captain Nemo there. I don't remember any other person.
But I do remember one of them is voiced by Sean Connery.
The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception.
A deception of what nature, counsel?
They've been targeted red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. Oh, it's a pyramid scheme. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once.
2 redheads!
Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece. It's very likely he had direct contact with these criminals. It's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events.
I concur, but we cannot in good conscience leave this new avenue unexplored.
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us at least.
Prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Asogi.
At once, my lord.
Very good. We'll have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned.
Okay. I thought we were going to go immediately to more investigation, but no, we're sticking to more stuff. Okay. More court it is! As we continue with some more Great Ace Attorney. Things are going crazy. We're going to tie everything together. We'll do that next time, guys. In some more Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. We'll see you then for that. Ciao.
Yo.